Bitch, we run a trap like. Bitch, we run a trap like.
from good old South Boston Speedway. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Short Track Thunder for race number 5 overall. And today, it was bound to be a good one. It is just a 0.37 of a mile short track, and you know that means it's going to be short. The races are going to be definitely sprint races here tonight, as it's going to be one of the smallest tracks we're going to be going to here on the Short Track Thunder season. 3 races getting set to kick it off for today, and we started all off with Stock Division for their 3rd race of their season. Hello and welcome one and all to the show. My name is Noel Rampo. We'll be bringing you all of the coverage here tonight from start to finish. It's bound to be an exciting show. Let's take a look down at your championship standings entering tonight's race, as we will be set to enter now race number 3. Chase Gaston currently sits at the points lead with 73 points. Eric Monaco is back in 2nd place with 68. Will Parrish and Nathan Orman remain tied for 3rd, and so on and so forth, all the way back to Ben Cohen, who is left with just a meager 39 points on his series, on his season so far. Let's take a look on what you're going to be having lined up for your starting grid here tonight from the South Boston Speedway. Colin Cropley going to be up there on pole position with Eric Monaco just 0.07 of a second behind him on that front row down in 2nd place. Nathan Orman is going to be in 3rd with Oscar Wilder in 4th. Will Parrish sits 10th back in 5th place with Trevor Carr in 6th. Mitchell Hodak is in 7th with Michael Brown in 8th. Casey Wells is 9th. Elgin Toledo is in 10th. There you've got Daniel Reagan in 11th with Chris Harvey in 12th. How about Justin Lariah bringing up 13th with Chase Gaston down in 14th. Make the Alex Benoit in 15th. Patrick Allmendinger in 16th. Jesse Gase is in 17th with Ben Cohen rounding out the tail end of an 18-car field from the South Boston Speedway. 18 cars lined up and ready to go. We'll be getting these guys underway just shortly. It's a 40-lap race as always, and that will, of course, also equal a competition caution at the lap 15 mark of this race. And now the field rolls off from pit road. Along with the stock division, you're going to be having the limited modified series coming on up next for a really quick 60-lap race, and then the Pro Late models will have their own race as well here tonight. But for now, for the South Boston Speedway, we get set to go racing for what should be, frankly, an awesome event here tonight. South Boston's always one of those short tracks that can create some very, very wild moments, so we should be in for a barn burner of a performance here tonight. Pace car taking the field around in their 2nd of 2 pace laps as we get set to go green flag racing at this time by. I want to thank everybody for joining us live here from virtual South Boston Speedway as we get set to kick off round number 5 of Short Track Thunder. If you want to talk more specifically about the divisional races, it's race 3 for the stock division as they exit turn numbers 3 and 4. On to the front straightaway. Colin Cropley takes us to the green flag. Side by side for the race lead, Eric Monaco trying to pull clear from the top shelf as we exit lap number 1. Monaco still with that outside lane trying to pull around, and it looks like we'll just not quite be able to get clear. That 99 peak antifreeze car doing good work out there to try to keep out in front of the Wonder Bread machine. But we'll finally pull clear in turn numbers 1 and 2. Gonna go 3 wide. Cropley on the bottom, the 26 of Nathan Orman in the middle, and it's gonna be the 10 of Oscar Wilder getting boxed out from the top side. And Wilder being muscled up into the outside wall as well. It is such a tight racetrack. It makes it very, very difficult for these drivers to make moves, and that is what we're seeing a lot of these guys struggling with so far in the early goings of tonight's race. Going to go 3 wide again. The 10 with the 94, and then, of course, you got the 30 in the mix of this as well. Casey Wells looking for the inside line of both Oscar Wilder and Michael Brown. Right behind them, Chris Harvey and Daniel Reagan are both kind of boxed into the moment with nowhere to go. They're trying to just sort themselves out here and get themselves in a bit of a better position, but it is tough going so far as these drivers continue to struggle their way around the South Boston Speedway. See drivers like Aaron Monaco starting to already pull way clear of the field as these guys are stuck battling it out side by side. This is one of those racetracks where every lap you're alongside with somebody, you lose that much more time. The 96 Whataburger machine of Trevor Carr just pulled clear from this pack. He'll be able to push up and try to run down these drivers up in front, but for pole sitter Colin Cropley, it has not been the way he wanted to start this race. He has only been slipping back from the drop of the green flag. He started on the inside, but now finds himself slipping all the way back to that 7th position now and is looking to go down even further as the 94 car is going to get through. How about Trevor Carr now having to go on defense as Mitchell Hodak tries to work his way up through the field? The Pepsi Challenger having himself a solid run here so far as we take a look at some of the other drivers so far throughout this field, and it has been a very good drive so far for a lot of the guys in this field. Riding on board at the moment with Chris Harvey as he runs that outside lane, trying to chase down some of these drivers up there at the front of this field, and also trying to fend off pole sitter Colin Cropley from just behind him. Three wide once more, the 65. Chase Gaston forcing the issue up the middle. The Monster Energy 83 of LJ Toledo up on the top side. The 62 down low of Daniel Reagan. And it will be Toledo to back out from the outside line. Aaron Monaco, though, has been in complete control so far of this race. He has taken over the race lead and is just having to round this track one more time before we reach the competition caution. The 26 looking for the inside line. This is for the race lead. Nathan Orman trying to charge after the 99 to make the move on the final lap of the opening stage. This won't be for points, but it'll be to determine who's going to start on pole for the restart. Coming around turn numbers 3 and 4. Orban's going to pull ahead, and he will be able to secure the race lead by the time they cross the start-finish line. Nathan Norman with a phenomenal drive there in the last going, going to secure himself the race lead as caution flag flies from South Boston Speedway. We'll take a quick step back. We'll be back, though, with the restart before too long. Stick with us.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Still on the caution fly, number 1 of the 9, the Porsche 911 GT3 iRacing pace car. Leading the train around, nobody so far has come on down into pit road. So it's been a fairly solid run thus far as we still run around with our first yellow flag here of the evening. And you can see the field as it sits currently on the left-hand side of your screens. It's been so far a very, very solid race for everybody involved. And now as we go 1 to green, we get set to do it all over again for the second half of tonight's stock division race from South Boston Speedway. Pace car will take the field through turns 3 and 4, and we once more will go racing from South Boston. Foreman has pulled clear by a fairly solid margin as we thunder down into turn numbers 1 and 2, down the back straightaway. Side-by-side battle at the moment between Will Parrish and Eric Monaco, as Monaco struggles to hang on. Monaco had the race lead early on. He got it from Colin Cropley. Now he's trying to see if he can close back up to the number 26 car to retake that lead. But so far, if he's going to keep going side-by-side with Will Parrish, that's looking sadly it might not happen. Pack of 18 street stock still running their way around the circuit here. You've got the Monte Carlo machine of the number 34, the Pepsi Challenger looking his way underneath the police car as the number 10 of Oscar Wilder keeps running that outside lane, doing a good job on pulling that momentum on exit of turn number 4 in particular. He's not doing a good job if he wants to try to see if he can maintain any sort of momentum at all. Nathan Norman's already broken almost a second clear of the second place battle of Will Parrish, Eric Monaco, and now the 96 of Trevor Carr trying to throw his hat into the ring as well in the Whataburger Chevrolet. Behind, you've got other side-by-side battles like this one between Chris Harvey and Michael Brown. Even further behind them, how about Casey Wells at the 65? In 30 series, trying to run down Chase Gaston of the 65 Rust Bucket machine. Pole sitter Colin Cropley has fallen all the way back now to 11th and has not been able to make up any sort of ground on this restart, even with all the side-by-side battling up the road in front of him. Second place driver of Will Parrish has cleared from this battle, and he is now getting set to run down Nathan Norman. On board at the moment with Will Parrish as we take a look at the lap time comparisons. You can see the last few laps he has been steadily running down race leader Nathan Norman. We'll see what it was this time with the line. Lap 27, he reeled in a good 10th and a half, so he is absolutely close. He's closed a bunch on this lap here. Sure enough, a half-second gain. That's actually the new fastest lap of the race right there, set by Will Parrish as he is charging after Nathan Norman to go for the race lead. We'll check back on that one if they end up going side by side, but for now we will focus up on the big pack of cars that's still running together. We're now in the final quarter of the race. Going to be 9 laps to go, this time by at the line. Even further down the order, the 30 car of Casey Wells still trying to look around Chase Gaston, but now he's being held up by the 94 of Michael Brown in the mad dash to turn 1. Well, Chris Harvey just made him a spot on Mitchell Hodak. Like so many drivers before him, Harvey is just not able to get clear as he is continuing to run down that 96 car. I think just there will finally clear the 34 down the pit straight as we run it back down into turn numbers 1 and 2 for the 34th time this race. At the moment, your 40-lap race in the stock division absolutely flying by so far, and if you want to see some modified action, we'll stick around because the limited modified series with the SKs are going to be up next. And they'll be having a 60-lap race that will honestly probably go by just as quickly with how fast those cars can lap around here. Keeping tabs on the battle here for the 6th position as the 34 going to get clear of the 12. Colin Gropley falling down even more spots as the number 62 of Daniel Reagan just got by him. Meanwhile, for race leader Nathan Orman, he is running his way around this racetrack. 0.6 of a second clear. Will Parrish was not able to run it down. He spent all his energy just trying to get to him and has not been able to close in that gap ever since. So now, Orman with virtually no competition as he's going to chase it down through turns 3 and 4, and he will take the white flag in stock division. Lap traffic not going to play a factor today as Nathan Orman will run down through turns 3 and 4. Orman wins stock division from South Boston. A solid race there as the cars will cross the start-finish line one by one. Take a look at your official post-race results here from South Boston Speedway. Nathan Orman is your race winner with Will Parrish down in 2nd place. You've got yourself Eric Monaco in 3rd, a 2.5 seconds back, and another couple of tenths back from there is going to be that of Oscar Wilder. Trevor Carson 5th with Mitchell Hodak in 6th. Chris Harvey is in 7th with Chase Gaston in 8th. Michael Brown rounds out 9th place with Casey Wells in 10th. LJ Toledo is in 11th. Alex Benoit is in 12th. Daniel Reagan is in 13th. How about Colin Cropley in 14th after he had a horrible race? Started from pole position. He loses 13 positions to finish in the bottom quarter of the field with Justin LeRae in 15th. Jesse Gase in 16th. Patrick Olmendinger 17th. Ben Cohen rounds out your 18-car field. Your championship standings exiting tonight in stock division look like this. Nathan Orman has retaken the points lead, and it's a 3-way tie for 2nd place with Gaston, Monaco, and Parrish all tied at 102 points. A lot to play for still in your stock division. Don't go away, though. It's not over just yet. We've got yourselves the limited modified series coming up in just a moment. We'll stay with you.
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish.
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
Loma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Low. 4 wide at the stripe. For all his work here on this outside line, neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
Bitch, you wanna trap money.
Once again, we have returned here to the South Boston Speedway as we continue to work our way through tonight's program. This time, we will be kicking off with the Limited Modified Series for their 60-lap race and their second race in that here in Short Track Thunder. We're going to take a quick rundown through your championship standings here in just a second here as we continue to work our way through tonight's program. Mateo Whitaker so far has been in the points lead, and we're going to see if we can get that a little bit more sorted there as some minor glitches on our end with our apparent standings board, it would seem. But I can tell you right now that it is going to be a phenomenal race for all of these drivers. There we go. There's the proper points. Chris Harvey is in the points lead after he took the race win at the Lucas Oil Raceway several weeks ago. And it's bound to be an entertaining race here in the Limited Modified Series. You can see Monaco and Trent Kirkshaw also drivers to keep a lookout for in the series tonight as we will continue to steadily work our way through the race then here tonight as we will wrap up the quick look there at your championship standings and how they will all shake up in tonight's race. Then with that, that's going to leave about high time for us to run down your starting grid and what that's going to look like for tonight's race. Eric Monaco is on pole. Ryder Chisholm, 19 thousandths of a second back in second place with Mitchell Hodak down in third. Keith Marks is going to be over in the fourth position with LJ Toledo in fifth. Casey Wells is sixth with Alex Benoit in seventh. JB Tanner is going to be in eighth. You've then got Trent Kirkshaw in ninth. Mateo Whitaker is in 10th. Ezekiel Rose in 11th. Nathan Ormond rounds out the top 12. From there, you will have the likes there of Chris Harvey in 13th, Garrett Newberry in 14th, Scott Gray is 15th, and Hermie Weatherman is in 16th place. Just over a second and a half back, or sorry, a half a tenth back, is going to be Colin Cropley with Darson Byron in 18th. Michael Brown is in 19th. Casey Knoll will be down in that 20th position. Kurt Newton is in 21st. Ben Cohen rounds out the 22 car field here in your limited modified series. Still waiting on the grading process to wrap itself on up here before we can properly get things underway here in the limited modified series, but 22 cars getting set to rumble for a 60-lap race. No brakes. This is going to be straight through the limited modified series, basically underpowered versions of the tour modified series that we've already seen come into play over at the Hickory Motor Speedway, and actually just yesterday as well over in Iowa for that matter. Next time we've seen these guys out, and I didn't mention this before, Stock Division will be finding their next race out all the way at Langdon for round number 7. The SKs, though, will be out next time around at New Hampshire as well for what is essentially going to be their version of Daytona over there. We are now rolling for our first of 2 pace laps, and it will be in the hands of that Eric Monaco when we take it around to the green flag. With a big field like this, expect for there to be problems with lap traffic. Kurt Newton and Ben Cohen going to be the 2 drivers that won't be visible on the timing ticker, but we'll be able to see the other top 20 over on the left-hand side of your screen once this race gets underway. 1 lap left to go. Hedge your bets. Will we be getting our first yellow flag for a crash here in the limited modified series at South Boston? If there's ever a place that's going to happen, it's probably going to be here with how fast-paced this track can be. But these guys, I know they are really good at being able to avoid accidents, especially with one another. So we're going to run down through turns 3 and 4. Pace car is going to make that dive hard left into pit road. Eric Monaco takes us to the green. Start so far. Aaron Monaco leading the train to the green as we continue to work our way now through the limited modified series. The number 5 still in control right here in third place as the top 3 have already broken clear of the main front of this field. These cars lapping faster than 15 seconds, so you know that means that we're going to be in for a short 60-lap sprint here in your limited modified series. Battle for 4th can get itself sorted, and it is costing the field here big time as the top 3 have broken about 7/10 of a second clear of all of them now. 4th place driver at the moment, Keith Marks, trying to see if he can pull clear from the top shelf, and he will. He'll be able to try to run down and join the fight for the race lead. You've got drivers still weaving left, right, front, and centers. Everybody's trying to find a hole. Everybody's trying to find the real estate. Where do you want to go in a situation like this? You can just kind of point your car and hope there's going to be a hole there by the time you get to the corner. And so far, working solidly for all the drivers in this field. Watching 8 of Chris Harvey trying to battle that with JB Tanner and the 21 of Ezekiel Froze. Thought about 3 wide. There might be room at the street stock, but these modifieds are a little bit wider. No room whatsoever for 3 wide here at the South Boston Speedway. I'd be very surprised if I saw anybody even attempting that. It would almost certainly result in a wreck. Of the track map over on the bottom left, you can already see the massive field spread by almost about half, actually not exactly half a lap at the moment, from first on back to the last place driver, Ben Cohen, way down at the tail end of this field. It has gotten separated quickly, but you wouldn't know it by looking at this camera shot here. But up front, this is where Aaron Monaco runs. He's got 2nd and 3rd place right behind him. There's the 4th place driver. As we hit that start-finish line camera, you'll be able to see just how spread out everybody is so far in this field. You got a couple of bigger packs here and there, but it is very spread apart now across about 2/3 now of the racetrack. We're not even a quarter of the way in. Eric Shaw still working the inside lane of Alex Benoit, trying to find a way around the number 74 car, but that 74 has not been giving up that outside line at all just yet. The 77 still hugging the inside line, trying to see if he can pull ahead. They pull that inside line a bit easier here in the SK Modifieds. You're going to always have that little bit more traction, and it looks like it's going to help them now pull clear of the 74 car. Ryder Chisholm here about to be under fire for first as he's got Mitchell Hodak hot on his heels. Hodak now going to look for the inside line into turn one. Too far back, though, I reckon, to make a move. Give that one up and go back to just kind of running his own line, but you can already see the difference in lines. You've got the 25 car kind of running a bit of a higher line here at the moment, and then you've got Aaron Monaco running a much lower line to the bottom. You can see the difference here as we ride on board. It is honestly a bit fascinating to see stuff like this developing amongst these drivers. You don't often see stuff like this too often, but it is good to see that there are some differences in the lines here. It makes it for a much more entertaining race to observe. And for Eric Monaco, he continues to lead the way so far in your limited modified races. We're already at third distance. Check it back in with Chris Harvey and Alex Benoit as Harvey is continuing to try to work his way around the number 74 car. He's got the 90 of Mateo Whitaker with Ezekiel Froese right behind all these guys as well. How about Scott Gray on the move? He's already made up 3 spots, trying to make it 4 as he's to the inside of Ezekiel Froese. That's the same number of spots that Chris Harvey has gone. For JB Tanner, though, has not been a good race at all. JB Tanner running that number 6 car up on the outside line. He has only slipped backwards, much like Colin Cropley. He is down 7 positions in his race. It's not going to stop him from trying to see if he can regain those spots a little bit deeper in tonight's program. The 20 and the 21 still side by side each other. That's Froese and Gray in the fight for 11th here. All the while, you've got Whitaker and Harvey just in front of these guys as well. All trying to see if they can't stir up the party. While this has been going on, Eric Monaco just put the first driver of the race a lap down. Ben Cohen has officially been lapped, and he's about to be lapping Kurt Newton as well. You can see Newton here trying to fend off Ben Cohen, but he's got Eric Monaco right behind him, chomping at the bit. One of Nathan Ormond still trying to look around the outside line. The fight's on for second place. Here goes Ryder Chisholm to the inside of Mitchell Hodak. Make that the other way around. Hodak on the inside of Chisholm here. And looks like the Red Bull 25 about to lose out on second place as they are catching up to lap traffic. Ben Cohen just up the road. He could find himself playing spoiler in this fight here for that second position. Spoiler Cohen will play. Who's he going to favor, though? They're still dead even down the back straightaway. And now with them being side by side, it's going to be all the more difficult for them to try to find a way around Ben Cohen. But Chisholm looks like he will back out from the top side. Mitchell Hodak has just secured second. Whoa, push it up a bit wide there and almost rub it up against the door of the 17. Just behind them, LJ Toledo is working his way around Casey Walls, the Exalted 21-31 down to the turn numbers 1 and 2. So we are over halfway through your limited modified series. really sanded it in there for the Valvoline 66, trying to see if he can't break through. Round the 31 here. And he would not be able to. Casey Wells will hang on. Still got the biggest pack so far in this race, involving Garrett Newberry up in 12th, all the way back to about Hermie Weatherman, who's in 18th. I believe Garrett Newberry just cleared Scott Gray. Or 11 as one. Nathan Norman trying to see if he can charge it up and through, but just now we're finally going to get single file for the first time all race long in this long train of cars. One-third of this race left to go, 19 laps. South Boston Speedway going to be 18 this time around here at the line as we continue to work our way through the second race in your limited modified series. Still have the Pro Late models coming on out to play a little bit deeper in this race. Hermie Weatherman just got around Darcy Byron, although still working on him. The in and out 60 to the inside of the 69. You've got, is that Colin Cropley right in front of them? No, it is. That is Colin Cropley. Just up the road in front of him. And now, take a look at Darcy Byron starting to fight back on that top line. The 60 car not having a whole lot of speed on the inside line until the 69 gets checked up. Laps just flying by from South Boston Speedway as Garrett Newberry going to look to the outside of Scott Gray, trying to take away 11. Then he will do so. What a drive for the number 2, but the high point 20. He's not done battling this out just yet. He's going to lunge it back to the inside. And a checkup for the 21 deeper in the field will stack him right up into JB Tanner and Nathan Orman. On board with Ezekiel Probes as he has a bird's eye view of this battle right up in front of him. Both drivers trying to take lanes away from each other, and neither driver is willing to give this spot up. I think this is going to be one of those side-by-side battles that's going to rage on for lap upon lap upon lap, and will come on down to the checkered flag unless the lap traffic just up the road has a say in how this is going to play out, which it very well might, as it is it's a lot of cars getting stacked up here now as you've got Ben Cohen, Kurt Newton, and Casey Knoll all now laps down, and right behind them is your fight for spots elsewhere in the field. Battles back on for second place. Ryder Chisholm's caught Mitchell Hodag right when they approach lap traffic. Casey Knoll trying to get around the 52 car side by side down the back straightaway. Chisholm's going to steal it from the outside line, but Hodag's trying to battle back on the bottom. And he'll be able to use lap traffic as a pit yard, do you believe, to secure his spot for Ryder Chisholm again. Every time Chisholm gets to him, lap traffic gets in the way, and that Red Bull car's not had the luck with the lap cars at all this race, and he's going to have to be forced to follow through on the bottom to try to run down Hodak once more. Move back to the watch battle between Ezekiel Froze and Hermie Weatherman develop as once again lapping Ben Cohen, and a check up on the top side gives it up for the 60 on the bottom, but Cohen's just going to pinch Weatherman in, so Weatherman's having a fight with lap traffic here. Not ideal at all because he's still got spots up the road that he wants to try to see if he can gain. There's a lot to play for in this field here, and there's a lot of action going on all in one big section. And it's lap cars trying to unlap each other while trying to have lead lap cars battle around them. Final lap, meanwhile, for race leader Eric Monaco right behind this whole mess as he's going to lunge to the outside and might even lap Michael Brown by the end of this race. Coming around 3 and 4, Eric Monaco will win in the limited modified series. The race from South Boston going off relatively without a hitch, but that got tight and really scrappy right there at the end of this race as lap traffic just was not one to get out of the way. Once again, going to take a rundown here of your official post-race results, but that was something to say the very least. Eric Monaco, your race winner over Mitchell Hodak, with Ryder Chisholm down in second place, or in third place, excuse me, with Keith Marks in fourth, LJ Toledo's in fifth. Casey Wells is in sixth with Trent Kirkshaw in seventh, Alex Benoit is in eighth, how about Mateo Whitaker in ninth, Chris Harvey rounds out the top 10. Gary Newbury is in 11th with Scott Gray in 12th, Hermie Weatherman is 13th, Ezekiel Froze is in 14th, JB Tanner is 15th, Darcy Byron is going to be in 16th place with Nathan Norman at 17th, and Colin Cropley going to be rounding out the 18 cars in this one, with rounding up at the back of the field going to be Michael Brown, the last car on the lead lap, followed by Casey Dole, Kurt Newton, and Ben Cohen, all having huge hands to play in how this battle is going to shake on down. Going to run down your official championship standings as we get set to leave South Boston Speedway for your limited modified series, and we'll be surprised with anybody that didn't make moves. Eric Monaco has taken over the points lead from Chris Harvey and will be looking set to continue that momentum. How about Hodak, though? Plus 4 positions, as is Ryder Chisholm, and even LG Toledo moving up 5 in the midfield. So that is all we're going to have for your limited modified series for now. One more race to go yet, though, on the night. We've got the Pro Late models coming up for one final 60-lap race before long. Stay tuned. We'll be with you in just a moment. We're back with more from Short Track Thunder. It's the Pro Late Model Division for our final race here of the night, and it will be a fun race at that. 60 laps with a competition yellow flag over on lap number 15. Only 17 cars getting set to make race starts here in this one, but that doesn't mean it's still not going to be a fantastic race. As always, we'll take a look at your championship standings. So far, the Pro Late Model Division, the first one along in their series, so points have been fairly well established. Eric Monaco currently leads the way by 5. Benoit Wells tied for second with Carlos Montero bringing up fourth, and Jack Cooper, Mitchell Hodat, and Nathan Ormond in a three-way tie for that final spot within the top 5 currently over in the points. So it should be an interesting race then. It's been an interesting race so far, as a matter of fact. I mean, this has just been one of those races where you never quite know what's been going to happen. I mean, we had an exciting street stock race, one of the real exciting ones we had of the season. An even more exciting limited modified race, what we have for the Pro Late Model Series. Take a run of your starting grid. Casey Wells on pole. Carlos Montero brings up second place with Eric Monaco down in third. Paul Bain sits in fourth. Michael Brown is in fifth with Alex Benoit in sixth. Nathan Ormond is in seventh with Jack Cooper in eighth. Jeb Kenner is ninth. Colin Cropley brings up the top 10. And rounding out your field here, going to be that of Mitchell Hodak, Alan Tudor, LJ Toledo, Corey Rivers, Ben Cohen, Ross Smithley, Edward Hilberry bringing up the rear of this field. Almost 3/4 of a second, though, off of pole sitter Casey Wells. So a lot of work going to have to be done there for that number 35 car if he wants to maintain any sort of pace throughout the remainder here of the season. So we are continuing to work our way through tonight's program. The Pro Late Models going to be making their next trip over at the Langley Speedway with when the stock series returns. It's only going to be both modified series and the Super Late Models racing at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in just a little while there. So it should be a very fun night then, I have to say. I mean, it's been a fun night so far. I'm looking forward to wrapping this one up properly here with some good old late model action. Pace car is now starting the roll for our 2 pace laps where we go green flag racing. Casey Wells has so far had mixed luck so far in the Pro Late Model Series, but this time he starts on pole position, trying to see if he can take us to what could be an excellent race win. Pace car is in. Here comes Casey Wells to take us to the green flag. Turns 1 and 2, the X side, 14, Barry Monaco on the move. He tries to punch his ticket further up into this field, working that 88 in the Harrison's Tire Pros Chevrolet. Carlos Montero down through turn numbers 3 and 4. Side by side throughout the field behind them. How about the 70 of Jeb Kenner trying to lunge at the inside of the Waffle House machine. Nathan Ormond, he's going to get there. Mitchell Hodak thinking about 3 wide in the McDonald's machine, but decides there's no room for him to do so. Kenner way down, using that yellow line to try to see if he can get some momentum up here on the Octane 80 of Michael Brown with Jack Cooper right up the road, and he's actually getting a fair bit of speed here. Meanwhile, Montero's car, Casey Wells, going to lunge for that inside line. The 88 car trying to charge after the 43 and go for the race lead early here in the Pro Late Model race. Almost dead even at the stripe that time by the 88. Trying to see if they can force a way around the 43. It's going to get tight though. And it looks like Montero's going to back out. No, not enough speed to close down and catch Casey Wells. Although not for lack of trying. He still has later on in the race though. 53 laps remaining. That leaves 21, 13, the 11 also trying to throw his hat in here as well. Colin Cropley looking for the inside of Mitchell Hodak here as Nathan Norman goes on the defense in the 21 car. Little further up the road, Alex Benoit also making moves as he's looking set to try to pass Paul Bain in the $71 General Chevy. 26 of Jack Cooper going with him. Kenner has caught up to this pack as well and just made his way around the number 80 car of Michael Brown, who's still up on that outside line. Continue to work our way through this race. Only 2 laps at this time by the line will remain before we go to our competition yellow. Casey Wells still clear of Carlos Montero. Eric Monaco still sitting down there in that second position as well as we run our way down through turns 1 and 2 for the final time before we go yellow flag on our last race of the night. And Casey Wells will hang on for that race lead as we cross the start-finish line. So caution flag out here on the Speedway as the pace car leads this field around. Gonna take a quick step back. We'll be back with more here from good old South Boston Speedway in just a few moments, just in time for the restart.
Coming up to the line, being chased, and it was Braden Johnson.
Unbelievable finish.
It was 1/1000th of a second between them.
Green flag in the air. We are racing in the 2020 24 Hours of Daytona.
They go door to door for the feature race lead here on the last lap of the race. Side by side for the race lead in the final corner at Homestead.
Down the back straightaway, 3 wide again for the race lead. This is unbelievable stuff here tonight.
The Loma is going to have to be very deep on the brakes, and he is very deep on the brakes. It's side by side through the corner. This is for the win.
It'll be side by side. Davies low, Ottinger high. To the very inside is Garrett Lowe. 4 wide at the stripe. For Audie's win here on this outside line. Neck and neck. Who's going to back out? Does anyone back out? Verstappen starts to squeeze on the inside, and now he'll try and straight line it. Goes under the apron, drag race to the line. It's so close to call.
One lap left to go before we go back green flag racing here from South Boston Speedway. The Pro Lane Model Division still running their way here around the racetrack. It's going to be An interesting restart. Carlos Montero mounted an assault very, very early on Casey Wells. If he could get around him for the race lead, we'll see. We'll try to mimic that on restart number 1. Pace car is down, and then we're back to green flag racing. Wells with a good jump, and Montero immediately jumps down to cover off Eric Monaco. Paul Bain sitting right in the background here as we continue to have drivers battling it out all throughout the mid-pack. In particular, the front runners, as always, seem to spread out early, and it's from the mid-pack all the way up back that seem to have struggles with it. Here we go for the lead. Montero this time trying the outside line. He tried the inside last time, it didn't work out. Now he's going to go up high to try to get around Casey Wells. But he's not going to get it. This is only going to open up the door here for Eric Monaco to attack for second. Monaco continues to work on trying to pull clear. We'll touch up on some battles further down in the field with Norman, Brown, Hodak, all still under a blanket. You've got the 11. McCullough, Cropley, Rivers, Toledo, and Moore. Keane's back here as well. Fight for second, actually picking up a lot more than I thought it would, as now Montero's found the pace on the top shelf, and now he's trying to fend off the 14. All this allowing Casey Wells to pull away, and it's also allowing Jeb Kenner to start to close in from behind in the Mopar 70. At long last, though, as Monaco clears, we can look back at the fights deeper in the field. This is Mitchell Hodak working the outside of Colin Cropley. Right behind them, Toledo and Rivers fighting the now for 12th as well. So we're fighting for spots here just on the cusp of the top 10. Halfway through your pro late model race. Continue to work our way through tonight's event. I mean, it's so far been a solid race. He got the 11, still working his way on the inside of Colin Cropley here. And LJ Toledo now going to attack Mitchell Hodak and push it up from the apron, trying to see if he can get back up to McDonald's 13. No room. Here comes Cropley, still running that bottom lane and straddling that apron there in the transition as he tries to get what he can the Monster Energy number 11, but I think he's only losing time here to the 80. He's got to get up and clear to the wall. Only side-by-side battle on the field at the moment is this one right here. So we'll keep tabs on this as Hodak, Toledo, and Cropley still fight all under a blanket. Colin Cropley just got clear, but it is still a tough run now for a lot of these drivers, as Mitchell Hodak will now just get clear of the 7, and that's going to allow him to go on the attack against Cropley, who's immediately going to be bumped back down to 11th place. Hodak on the move. He's not the only one. How about Jack Cooper, the 26, getting around the 71 of Paul Bain. The Dollar General Monte Carlo falling to the Lane Automotive 26. Approaching now our final third here of this race as time continues to steadily slip away from these drivers. And now single filed out all the way throughout this field, except for Corey Rivers, who, just as I say that, decides to make an attack on Colin Cropley, trying to promote himself up here to 12th. Leaders slowly catching Ross Smithley and Ben Cohen at the tail end of this field here as the 66 and the 11 continue to race it out side by side with one another. The black tires, 66 dressed up like a Pontiac to the inside of Cropley. Not going to be clear here, but I think he will off of turns 3 and 4, and he is. Good overtake there from the 66 car as Corey Rivers has promoted himself up to 11 and is going to continue to work his way up through the field. Casey Wells has been steadily losing time here to Eric Monaco over the last little while as he's been getting closer and closer to some of that lap traffic just up the road. We could very well be seeing Casey Wells lose the lead to the X-Side 14 if the Hardee's machine isn't careful here. Smith will be the first driver to go a lap down right this lap here as Ben Cohen is just up the road from him. And Monaco. Closing ever so much, down to a third of a second. This fight for the race lead far from over as both Smithley and Cohen going to be lapped by your two race leaders. Colin Cropley attacking Corey Rivers once more. This time the 61 of Alan Tudor wants in on the party as he's closed in from behind. Only fight either. Here's Paul Bain and Nathan Orman, just a couple of tenths separated from each other. This would be for 7th place if this were to get kicked off here. Oh, and this battle for 12th remains the only side-by-side fight so far for position on the racetrack. And fights on for the lead here. Eric Monaco to the outside line of Casey Wells. The X-Side 14 has got the upper hand, trying to make that momentum count on the high side. 9 laps to go. Monaco still fighting that top lane. Every lap chipping away a little bit more from Casey Wells. Wells still has the nose out in front, though this time by at the line. This time it's too wide in 3 and 4. Casey Wells will hang on. We'll definitely keep our tabs on Casey Wells and Eric Monaco, as Monaco has shown he is not done hanging around just yet. It'll be 5 to go this time by. I wonder if Monaco has just spent what he's got, if he's going to have the opportunity to go back and potentially take his lead away as well. Couple of drivers making moves late in the race here. Jeb Kenner trying to make a run around the outside of Alex Benoit. Doesn't look that's going to go anywhere. Just behind them, Nathan Norman has caught up to Paul Bain as they are now catching up the lap traffic. That's Ross Smith and Ben Cohen that are also in a battle for position that are checking the entire field up here. So that's not going to be pleasant news for anybody in this train here, which would include that of Norman, Hodak, and Bain, all trying to work their way around 2 lap cars that are fighting for the position in the dying laps. Meanwhile, the 35 of Edward Hilberry has also been lapped, as that's allowed Casey Wells to build out about a 7/10 of a second advantage over Eric Monaco as we hit 2 to go. But as always in fights like these, I don't think it can be understated how close Casey Wells came from losing this race, as he'll take the white flag. So as Casey Wells comes around turn numbers 3 and 4, it's another victory for Wells in the Pro Late Model Series. Boy, what a race from South Boston Speedway. That was awesome. I mean, you don't often see races go down to the wire like that, but they sure did here. Take a look at your official post-race results. Casey Wells taking the win over Eric Monaco. You're then going to be having Carlos Montero in third, with Alex Benoit bringing up the field in fourth. From there, it'll be Jeb Kenner, Jack Cooper, Mitchell Hodak, Paul Bain is in eighth, Nathan Norman is ninth, Michael Brown rounds at the top 10. LJ Toledo, Colin Cropley, Corey Rivers, and Alan Tudor were the cars that finished on the lead lap, with Edward Hilberry, Ben Cohen, and Ross Smithley all finishing 1 lap down in your race here tonight. Gonna once more look at your point standings, this time of what they look leaving in the Pro Late Model Series. Tie for the lead as Wells and Monaco. One of these drivers is going to have to come on out on top of that points lead, or will there be a new driver as Alex Benoit hangs around down in third? That's all we're going to have time for one night, though, here from the Short Track Thunder. Next time up, it'll be the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where both modified divisions and the super late models will be back for more. We'll see you there for round number 6.